On today's show, we talk to a young man whose life feels stuck and he doesn't know what to do. We also talk to a young father of 3 beautiful young girls, and he lost his previous spouse and doesn't know how to tell them about it. We also talk to a mom whose son's failing out of college and she doesn't know what to do. Stay tuned. Hey, what are you doing? This is John with the Dr. John Delony Show. Man, I hope you're doing well. Hope the New Year's going all right. Hope you're staying out of trouble. Hope you're staying off the drugs. I don't know what that means, but I hope you're staying in school. I was trying to think of some back to school special language. Stay in school, don't do drugs. That's the new tagline for the show, James. Stay in school, don't do drugs. Does that work? You're the producer. Usually I come up with a great idea and James tells me in the meetings, it's not a great idea. And he's right.
That's not true.
100% of the time you're right. Have I ever had a great idea and you're like, I've never had a good idea. I have so many ideas and they're not great, man. They're just not good. Kelly's ideas are good. James are good. Sarah's incredible. Man.
You're being very self-deprecating. You have a lot of great ideas.
I think my wife would disagree with you, too. All right, let's go to Jason in Chicago, in Chi-Town. What's up, Jason?
Yes, sir.
What's up, dude?
Ron. Hey, nothing much. I'm just a 20-year-old guy. I'm having a little bit of trouble right now. I've been having like some physical issues, like back pain and shoulder pain due to working like a physical job, and slightly nervous, I guess, about my future because I'm this young and I'm already having these issues. And
you're already having seizures?
No, like these issues.
Issues. Okay. Yeah. So, hey, will you do me a huge favor?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to pretend that we're going to start this whole call over. And instead of being like, oh, I'm just this like kind of 20-year-old loser in Chicago, I'm going to be like, hey, we're going to go to Jason in Chicago. Then I want you to say, hey, I'm Jason. I'm 20 years old. And, man, I'm working hard. I'm kind of nervous about my future. And then I want you to choose to lift up your language a little bit. Is that cool?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good. We're learning. We're practicing. Ready? All right, let's go to Jason in Chicago. Beep, 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 beep. What's up, Jason? How we doing?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. I'm a 20-year-old guy, and I'm having a little bit of issues. It's working pretty hard. Physical labor.
What do you do? What kind of physical labor do you do?
Warehouse.
Just throwing boxes?
Like package handling.
There you go. Okay, throwing boxes. Yeah, man, that's hard. How long have you been doing that?
A year and a half.
Okay. Yeah. So, how can I help, man?
I don't know. It's been kind of weighing on me that I'm just having like a little bit of issues with my physical health, I guess.
Okay.
Like back problems and shoulder at this type of age, and I'm a bit afraid of my future, honestly.
What do you want to do with your future?
Not sure. I've been actually, I bought some tools and I've looked into like cell phone repair. Actually.
Okay. So when I ask you, like, man, if you could see it all come together, and if I could just snap my fingers and make all my dreams come true, I want to repair cell phones. Is that right?
Maybe.
If that's it, man,
sure.
I stand behind you. Is that it? What do you want to do?
That might be it. Honestly, I'm not too sure. To be honest.
Where does that self-limiting belief come from?
I guess I don't have much experience in the world.
Why not?
As of right now.
20 years old. You've been living at. You still live at home now? You've been living at home?
Yeah, I've been living at home.
Okay. Do you live out of your house now?
No, I still live with my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, so how can I help?
Plenty of job. It's just I don't know how to go. I don't know. I'm a bit nervous. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm nervous too. I'm not very good at this. You're way better at this than I am. Okay, let me back out a little bit. What do you want from your life? Don't overthink it. Just rattle them off. What do you want for your life? You want to get married?
Maybe if I find the one.
Okay. There's not a one. You're going to have to choose to marry somebody. That the myth of the one isn't real. Do you want to have kids someday or no?
Yeah, I'd want some kids. Definitely.
Okay. I've got a couple. It's awesome. It's also exhausting and expensive, and it's the best. Do you want to live with your mom forever? Have your own place?
No. Yeah, I have my own place, definitely.
You want to live in the south, in the north, east, and the west? Where do you want to live?
That I don't know. I mean, the snow's, kind of hard.
So there's no sales tax in Tennessee. I mean, there's sales tax. There's no income tax. Yeah, there's for sure sales tax. So here's the thing. It feels like you're trapped, man. You've trapped yourself by an inability to imagine anything other than this immediate moment. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you struggle with any sort of mental health issues? You ever been diagnosed with depression?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know? Okay. How'd you do in school?
Not that well, but I've been going to community college and I've done kind of good, and then I started not having the discipline to do well.
Why do you choose to not have discipline?
I kind of feel directionless, I guess.
You kind of feel directionless?
Yeah. I'm not sure where to go. I'd want to go somewhere, but I'm not sure where. As a career and just job-wise, I'm not sure.
But that's different than discipline. Why do you choose to not have discipline?
I guess
I get being lost career-wise, but every day you can choose to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and get some exercise in and to eat well and to do a little bit of service and to do a gratitude journal and to get your homework and assignments done and study for that day's quiz or exam. You can make that choice every day. And
that's right.
But you choose not to do those things. Why do you choose not to do those things?
I guess I'm not too sure.
How'd you find this show?
Oh, I've been watching YouTube.
Okay.
I've watched Ramsey, and then I saw Dr. Delony's show, Dr. John Delony's show, and then
that's
I've watched
me.
A couple of episodes. Yep.
Yeah. How much YouTube do you watch?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a problem.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Okay. You feel stuck, and I get that. There are millions of people watching this right now who are stuck. And they don't know where to go. They don't know what's up, what's down. Really crazy. It's just bonkers when you look across the media landscape right now. You know what is absolutely getting crushed in the media landscape is any sort of books or, courses to correct, to help, to change your life. And I think people are absolutely stone exhausted. I think 2020, they all ran out and went, yeah, let's get them. And then 2021, they just said, whatever, dude. Oh, cool. New variant. Cool. Whatever. And I think there's been so much loss, so much chaos, so much misinformation, so much ups and downs and sideways that people are just cashed. Here's the good news. That means if you will get up and be disciplined about a few things, you will go so far, so fast. That means if you will care about Jason just a little bit, it will that care you invest in yourself will magnify. And for anybody listening, if you feel stuck and trapped and you want to make just a tiny little step towards a new direction, everything can change. And so here's what I can't do. Jason, we could talk for 5 hours on what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be when you grow up? All those things. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some stuff, okay?
Okay.
But I'm going to give it to you, but you got to promise you'll use it. Do you promise?
I promise.
All right, here's 5 things I'm going to roll out. I'm going to ask 5 things of you, and I'm going to give you some stuff. Cool?
Awesome.
Number 1, Are you currently enrolled in community college?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. That means you pay for the counseling services.
Yep.
I want you to make an appointment today.
All right.
Shoot an email to him and say, I'd like to schedule an appointment. Say, I am lost, directionless, and I need some help. Okay?
Okay.
I want you to use those words. I want you to go sit with a professional and set up over a couple of sessions and walk alongside them. You're already paying for the service. You might as well use it. Okay? Number 2, I'm going to send you a copy of my friend Ken Coleman's new book, From Paycheck to Purpose. So stay on the line, and Kelly's going to get your information. We'll mail that out to you. And I'm going to send you a free one of his assessments. I love giving away Ken's stuff. It's so great. Doesn't affect my bottom line at all. It's so good. But Ken's assessment, and it's a guide you work through to say, like, what am I going to be? What do I want to do with my life? Okay?
Yeah.
The 4th thing, I want you to get on Amazon today. You love the internet, and I want you to order the book, Jocko Willenick's book, Discipline Equals Freedom. Okay? It'll cost you like $10.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
And then here's number 5. I want you to write a letter to Jason in 5 years. And in that letter, I want you to describe exactly where you are. Where are you living? Are you married? Do you have kids? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? I want you to be very, very specific about where you're headed. And that letter is going to be great discussion material for you and your counselor there at the college. And from that letter, I want you to pull out some of those things and make bullet points and hang them up on your wall so you can look at them every day. And in Jocko's book, you're going to work through a workout program and a daily routine and a set of practices that you're going to be committed to. You're going to read Ken's book and you're going to get some direction. Like, yeah, I think that sounds like fun, man. I think that I would love doing that for a career. And you're going to walk through his plan on how to get clear and get the job that you want, how to stay in that job. But all of this starts with an idea that I'm no longer going to be directionless. I'm going to choose to not be directionless. I'm not just going to sit here on this island and go nowhere. I'm just going to start going somewhere. And along the way, I'm going to pick up the wisdom of some smart people who've been down that road before. I know it feels scary. I know it feels lost. Big thing, get off the internets, bro. Just turn them off. Just turn them off. And I know I make my living on the internets, but you need to turn them off. Turn them off and go be with people. Go outside, be with people, go exercise, go for a walk, go serve your neighborhood. Go get a trash sack and just start picking up trash in your neighborhood. Listen to the podcast and quit watching on YouTube. Just get outside and get some fresh air. Go do something great for your community, okay? Be the guy that's always picking up. Do something. Get off the internets, brother. We love you. Hey, after you get these 5 things done, I want you to holler back at us and we're going to walk alongside you and see what's next, all right? We'll be right back on the Dr. John Delony Show. Hey, good folks and friends and listeners to the Dr. John Delony Show. The world is bonkers, right? We all know this. And one of the most common questions I get is, how do I find a counselor in the chaos? I've reached out and there's a 6-month waiting list, or I can't afford it, or they only take insurance, or I can't get off work in time to go see somebody and it's way across town. What do I do? Because I want help with my anxiety, my depression, my relationships are hanging on by a thread. I want to be a better mom. I got to process this trauma that happened to me when I was a kid. Where do I find a counselor? So I partnered with BetterHelp because BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions, so you don't even have to look at your therapist when you're talking to them if you don't want to. I've taken away all your excuses, and it's more affordable than in-person therapy. And these are real licensed therapists. If you reach out to them, you will be talking to somebody within 48 hours. Dr. John Delony Show listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Delony. Please reach out if you need help. That's betterhelp.com/Delony. All right, we are back. Let's go to Chris in Pennsylvania. What's up, Chris?
Hey, how you doing?
Remarkable. How about you?
I'm doing all right.
What's up, dude? How can I help?
Yeah, so I have a question for you. My wife and I, we both have lost our previous spouses.
Wow. How old are you?
I am 38, and my wife is 35.
Oh my gosh, man. I'm so sorry to hear that for both of you.
Thanks.
Man. How long ago for both of you?
Hers was, she lost him about 8 years ago, and mine is going to be 8 years here in January.
Okay.
Coming up. So.
All right. Wow. Okay.
We have 3 kids, 3 girls. I'm a hashtag girl dad.
Me too, man. But only one.
Yeah. And what we were talking about the other day, and we're both huge fans of you, and we wanted to know is when and how do we bring up our previous history with our daughters?
So they don't have any idea?
No.
How old are they?
The oldest is 4.5.
Okay.
Then we have 2.5. And then 6 weeks.
Oh gosh. You know, can I say, when did y'all just have this? When did this come up? When did you think when did y'all have the conversation, you and your wife? We're gonna have to tell our daughters at some point.
We've talked about it in the past, but last week we were driving somewhere, and I think I was telling her about a show. I just listened to one of your shows, and I'm like, hey, we should probably think about this. And another aspect to this is we actually last June had a miscarriage at 6 weeks, and we also have not brought that up. So that's also in the mix of kind of bringing up all this to them as they get older. And
yeah, you've got a lot. So, man, broadly speaking, your kids will not, and I wish there was a nicer way to say this, okay? So just take my blunt language here with a grain of salt, or take it with grace, because I wish there was a more graceful way to say this. Your kids will not have the baggage of your past that you do.
Right.
Their story will simply be the story of their world, which is both of their parents were married to other people who passed away. And so normally, especially with a 4.5, 2.5, it's one of those things that if it comes up in natural conversation, and here's a good example. My daughter's 5. She has been really curious about, tell me another story about when I was a baby, or let's look at pictures of me as a baby. She wants to know some of that history, and she's 5 or 6. That's about when I think the curiosity will start. When did you and Daddy meet? When was he your boyfriend? When was she your girlfriend? And kids don't have quite the same, not quite, they don't have nearly the same perception of time. And so forever started when they had consciousness. Does that make sense? So the idea that there was a before them is weird. And then when they realized there was a before them, then there was a before y'all two were together. And then there was a before, what? You used to date other people? So the whole thing is just their world expands like an accordion as y'all have these conversations. And so what I don't want you guys to do is feel pressure that we have to have this big grandiose conversation with them. And because they've got to know about their past and their parents' past, they got to know it. And then all of a sudden you use your needs use them as a proxy to get your needs met, which is I don't want to have these secrets in my house. Versus when they come up, then you have these conversations. I will say that having some sort of context for death is good. Whether that's a goldfish, a grandparent, a pet. One of the most...
Yeah,
Go ahead.
We had a neighbor 6 months ago. He passed away from COVID, so I think she kind of gets an idea, but it's still hard to gauge on whether she truly understands what death is.
So this is a great opportunity to you and your wife separately, together, get with your daughter and say, hey, we just want you to know that we've been really sad that Mr. Tim down the street died. And your daughter may ask, well, what's died? Or he'll come back, or whatever that looks like. And you let her know, here's what grief looks like. In a way, my friend Rachel Cruz says, share, don't scare. In a way that she goes, oh, my parents experienced sad too. because then it humanizes grief, humanizes y'all. It makes your daughter one day when she feels grief, she won't feel crazy because she's got a picture of it because she saw you guys grief. And then you'll always have this anchor point of death so that when it comes up, with you and daddy, when y'all first got married or however the conversation goes, right? I'm trying to pretend I'm a 4.5-year-old and I'm there psychologically, but not, you know what I mean? It will come up, and that's when your wife or you, whoever gets this question, in a non-dramatic way, but in a factual, this is just our life. I got blonde hair. I was at one time married to somebody else, and they died. Remember, like Mr. Tim? My previous wife died. And here's where that can get scary for a kid. You mean mommy could die? Yeah, she could. She probably won't. And every day we tell mommy we love her. She probably won't. But yeah, we all die someday. And that's when you get the existential crisis between 4 to 7 years old, and they start to realize, oh, there was a before time. Oh, there's going to be an after me too. And it's, you may remember that from your childhood. And so it's just a part of their story. The greatest gift you can give your kids, though, is to let them know that you're a person and you get sad sometimes. It may be 8 years is 8 years. Do you still have on your first wife's birthday, do you go have a drink or do you go out with buddies? I mean, do you still have seasons of sadness?
Yeah, there's definitely still seasons, especially I would say the biggest one's around the time whenever everything happened, which is, coming up in a couple weeks. So it's always great.
So that might be 4.5, depending on your kid, feels a little bit early. 5.5 might not be, depending again. If my daughter, if my wife and I had the situation, it wouldn't be too early for my daughter. But also, granted, I'm kind of a weird dad, and so we talk about death a lot at my house. And so her therapy bills and my son's are going to be different later on down the road. In some families, it might not be appropriate till 7 or 8. Or the poor family the other day that shot he's a buddy of mine, and his daughter got a hold of the Questions for Humans cards I have and found out Santa Claus wasn't real, and she's 9 or 10. She found out from me, right? So that might, yeah, it's awesome. So that might not be, you're going to have to know your kid. But it might be, hey, daddy's really sad today. And I have a story I have never told you, but I have a story. I was married before mommy. I had another wife, and she was in a car wreck. She got sick, whatever the story is. And again, you're talking a 30,000-foot story because she's 5 or 6. Yeah. But she passed away, and like Mr. Tim, she died. And just once a year, daddy gets really sad. And when I get sad, I like to be around people that I love, and I like to write letters. I like to hug, and sometimes I even cry. And it's that level of honesty and vulnerability that is going to, you're talking legacy changing stuff, brother. Like, you're giving your daughter tools that she will use for the rest of her life. And she will ask hard questions. And she will take your cue, her cue from you and your wife as to, are my parents trustworthy? Can I ask them hard questions? Are they safe to go to when I'm scared or nervous? Based on how y'all answer those questions. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry that that's been your road so far, and I'm also really grateful that y'all found each other, and it looks like y'all have created a beautiful life.
Yeah. It's all part of God's plan.
It's surreal though, right? Like when you sit down and look at it.
Oh, it really is.
Do y'all ever have those weird moments?
Yeah.
Can I ask you one? Can I dig in for a second?
Sure.
I've had a couple of buddies in my life whose spouse has passed away. They got remarried, and then they had kids. And the inevitable, 2-drink question is like, oh my gosh, the greatest things in my life are my kids. They wouldn't be here if the worst thing in my life hadn't happened. You know what I mean? You get these weird existential loops. Have y'all had those conversations together?
Yeah, we have.
How did it go?
My wife brings that up a lot. She's
not helpful, wife.
She'll just come over. She'll be sad and just be like sad and happy because she'd be like, there was a point in my life where kids were never in my future. And now look at us now. We have these well, at the time, we haven't really talked about it in the last 6 weeks, but we had these 2 beautiful girls that are just amazing. And now we have 3, and pretty sure our family's complete now. But
fingers crossed.
It's quite a story.
Yeah. So here's what I would want to encourage you with. Never keep secrets from each other. And
right.
You can choose to not to go down those looping spirals. We've become obsessed in our culture with the scientific method, like the asking hard questions and let's follow the plan until we get to the answer. And the other thing we are obsessed with is taking everything apart to its smallest piece. If we can understand what makes up the atom, then we can understand what makes up humanity, then we can understand what makes up the cosmos. Like that's our current ethos. And so sometimes we want to know why. Why did this happen? And back it out here. And we can make ourselves crazy on these reverse engineering explorations of our life.
Right.
And man, what a gift just to say, I don't know, but look at these 3 beautiful girls now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our pain is a part of our story, and so is our joy. You're a gift, my man. I hope that helps. Ultimately, this is a bad analogy. Have y'all had the sex talk yet at all with your daughters?
No.
By the way,
not looking forward to that day either.
It'll come it'll come in the most random. You'll be in a Target and it'll be like, oh, we're talking about tampons. All right, I'm in. And you're gonna be ready to rock and roll, right? That happens. But in a similar way, if we can have those conversations with our daughters and with our sons and not let them feel one iota of weirdness or shame about their bodies, then they don't have weirdness and shame about their bodies. And if we don't have weirdness and shame about our bodies, they don't learn weirdness and shame. Similarly, if we are bold enough and courageous enough and honest enough to understand, like to speak out, death is part of this, it's built into the system here. We've made it this evil, hush, don't talk about a thing, and it's a part of all of us. It's all of us, right? It's just the operating instructions, right?
Yeah. How do we get into the miscarriage side of things? Because I feel like that's a slightly different discussion with the whole, there was a baby in mommy's body and then there wasn't. And just, we aren't really sure how we don't want to hold it from them, but we just don't know the best way to approach that.
Yeah. I again, if this was a week 6 miscarriage and the kids didn't know, do they know that mommy was pregnant?
No, we hadn't told them yet.
Okay. That might be something I'd hang on to. And because again, they're 4 and 2 and babbling, right? I'd probably hang on to that. And if either of you have a season of grief around that passing, right, around that miscarriage, then you let your kids know that mommy's really sad. Mommy's really sad. Daddy's really sad. And then over time, you'll have that conversation with your daughters. And it would be, we've experienced multiple miscarriages. I got the names of our babies tattooed on my body. And those are conversations I've had with both of my kids. But again, they're a little bit older, and we have a context of that type of discussion in our house. And that's not for everybody at age 5 or 6 or 7. But those conversations will come. Again, that's setting up I'm willing to be vulnerable and tell you about my life. Not about, you've got to know all the things going on behind closed doors with me and mom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did I remember hearing you say in a previous episode, we were about 3 weeks before having this latest baby, and my wife was just very overwhelmed with emotions, and like she's grieving, the losing that one baby, but now we're having this one. And I could have swore I heard you say something like that's a natural body response. So was I correct in that? Because I told her, and she really was glad that I had heard that from you, but we just wanted to kind of get clarification on that.
About grief being a natural body response?
Yeah, it's like we were excited because the baby was coming, but she was extremely sad because, we had lost the other baby.
Well, so you went through a terrible thing. You have this grief, and then you get pregnant again. And that grief was devastating to your body physically, psychologically, spiritually. Your body felt that. It experienced it. All of the stress hormones and the lack of sleep and the lack of nutrition and the lack of intimacy, all those things, the isolation. So it puts a pin in that, to use a terrible, like, Google Earth analogy here. And then it remembers. And the next time she gets pregnant, it sounds the alarms. Hey, remember last time? Look out, look out, look out. You get what I'm saying?
A lot of that. Yep.
And so what you have to do is to recognize in a graceful, curious way, dude, my body's just trying to love me. And once your body recognizes, oh no, I'm in control. I appreciate it, and I remember that too. And it was hard. And it was terrible. That's why you hear me say it all the time about writing letters. What letters cause us to do is to pause for an hour or 30 minutes and to think clearly, write things down, look for evidence, demand evidence to these things, and to then process. And the whole time you're breathing and you're slowing down and you're being intentional. And what you're doing is you're telling your amygdala, hey, we're still in control up here. We're good. You don't need to run off and set off every alarm we have. Set off the anxiety alarms or the depression alarms or the whatever's going on. And then we can move on to the next. Doesn't mean we're not sad. It doesn't mean we're not joyful about the new baby and sad about the baby that we lost. It's both and, same time. All that's the same time. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. But yeah, it's just most people fight their bodies. They want to shut off that sadness, and the sucky part is joy and sadness are on the same switch, man.
Okay.
Does that make, you know what I'm saying? So feel them both. Yep. They're both right. It's when one takes over that you say, well, maybe we need to go talk to somebody. When I just can't acknowledge the joy of this new baby because I can't get the baby that we lost out of my head. I keep reliving that experience. I keep reliving the miscarriage. I keep reliving the cramps. I keep reliving the headaches and the crying. It's when you can't stop and it loops and your body gets stuck in that loop. That's when you go see a professional. But I hate this. I'm weeping. And at the same time, I'm holding this baby and laughing. Man, that's part of the journey.
Okay.
Can I tell you this?
Thank you. Yeah, good.
Those 3 girls won the dad lottery when they got you.
Well, thanks.
Like, for real.
So my wife says too.
She's lying to you. She's supposed to say that. I'm a podcast host. I know, but I'm just kidding. Your wife's a genius. She knows way more than my idiot butt does. Whatever. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, you got a lot there, man. Y'all got a history of grief. Grief is a part of your story. And so over time, as your daughters dig in and ask questions and ask to be invited into your story, talk to them. Share, don't scare. But let them know, yeah, death is a part of our life. Same with the dog, same with the goldfish, same with our neighbor down the street, Mr. Tim. Same with all of us. And it's hard. Sheltering our kids from that type of reality does nobody any good. We'll be right back on the Dr. John Delony Show. Y'all know there are lots of things that make me nuts, but one thing makes me more nuts than anything else: buying a home. And my friends who refinance their homes, they tell me it makes them nuts too. I love living in a new home, but I gotta be honest, I'm no good at buying one. And that's why I'm so thankful for people like my friends at Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is a Ramsey trusted provider who we've been sending people to for over 20 years to help with home mortgages. Why? Because they're committed to doing what's right for you. And that means walking you through paperwork that's way over your head. That means making sure you get the right mortgage that you can pay off as soon as possible, and they don't try to upsell you a bunch of nonsense that's gonna hurt you down the road. And most importantly, when you're making this big life change, you can actually breathe, because you got an expert and a team who have your back. Listen, if you're about to buy a home and make a big change, save yourself the headache and call Churchill Mortgage today at 888-LOAN-200. Trust me, that's 888-LOAN-200.
This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100. Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. Programs are for select loan types only and are not available in all states or locations.
All right, we are back. Let's go to Mary in KC, Missouri. What's up, Mary? What's up?
Hey, Dr. John, how are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so just honored to be speaking with you. So I reached out. We have a son. So I'm divorced and remarried. We have a blended family, and our middle child, who's my oldest, is 18, and he's a freshman in college. We are in baby step 7, and so he really wanted to go away to school. He struggled his senior year of high school. And so with grades and that kind of thing.
He struggled academically, psychologically?
Yes. Academically, started to do made some poor choices with drinking and vaping and that kind of thing.
Okay.
My husband and I had a lot of talks with him about, this is a fresh start. We believe in you. And he really wanted to go away. So he did. So he's down in at University of Arkansas.
Okay.
And really, really, really struggled. Classes, just like he's very social, right? So he's high social, didn't get into a fraternity, made a lot of friends, and the social life just took over. And so here we are at the end of the semester. He's on his way home right now and has all Fs. So he has a life coach, and he's worked with her for about a year now. And we've all believed in him, and we really, really want to see him succeed. He really, really wants to go back, but it's expensive, right? And I'm just at a loss as to what to do. His dad told him he would not pay for last semester, so that's when my husband and I did. So now it's his dad's turn to pay, and it's just really hard because he's failed, and yet. Right? He's only 18, and I believe in him, and I'm just so confused as to what to do, and I'm concerned about him.
Yeah.
He's admitted that he's drinking a lot. I know that he vapes quite a bit. He says all of his friends are vaping, so I'm concerned about his health. I'm concerned about his future, and just kind of lost. So I reached out to you because I think the world of you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I've had this conversation. I can't even tell you, probably 1,000 times in my career with people in your exact situation. So, here's what I'll tell you: the greatest gift you could give your 18-year-old son right now is to feel the weight of the consequences of his actions, and that will be hard on you. It will feel like a betrayal to him, but he's 18-year-old man now. As much as he's a kid, he's a child. And you're going to hear me tell other people that their 18-year-olds are children, and I will. I'm telling you, yours is an adult. You're playing a long game with him now. You're playing what does a 30-year-old son look like, and we're going to reverse engineer that. And so right now, it feels like the whole world. It feels like everything's crashing down. You feel like a failure because your kid failed, and what did we do, and could it be this, and is it the divorce? All those things. You can get existential about it, and that's fine and all good. The reality is he went to college. He decided to drink and party and hang out, and he flunked out. He's going to be on academic probation. If it's my son's coming home, and he's going to get a job, and he's going to go to community college and prove to me that he wants to be in school. And the language I use in my house is all about choice. So if one of my son, I hate when parents weaponize interactions with kids, meaning, oh, you didn't get your thing done? Well, you're not coming fishing with me. I don't like that. But here's what I do. The consequence is the same, but the semantics means everything. I will sit down with my son and say, I did this recently. If X and Y and Z does not happen, that is you choosing to not come spend time with me on this trip. And I will choose to be heartbroken because this trip is no fun without you. I don't like hunting or fishing alone without my son. And if you choose to go to bed early or hang out and not get your stuff done, I will be sad that was your choice. And so I'm not weaponizing my relationship. I'm letting him know that the weight of this interaction is on his shoulders. He's got some choices to make. And I would sit down with your son and have that same conversation. I want you to go to college. I want you to go to University of Arkansas where it's a great school and it's great this and career and blah, blah, blah. Great. So far, you have chosen to drink and to party and to fail. That's the choice you made. And I'm choosing to be heartbroken about that because I know you're smarter than that and I know you're more capable of that. But these are choices you made. If you choose to get all A's at community college, then I will choose to reinvest in your education. But at this point, the choices you have made suggest that you don't even want to be in college. You see how that I want him to feel the weight of the decisions and the choices he made. Of course he wants to go back. Of course all of his friends are there. Of course the girl of his dreams is there. Of course all of but the choices you made. I want $1 million too, but if I spend all my money every day, then I'm choosing to not have $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the greatest gift you could give him is to let him know that there are consequences to his choices. And to love him the whole way through, by the way. Love him the whole way through. Some parents have to gear themselves up for this conversation. It ends up being so you got it. I wouldn't do that. I'd let him know that you're heartbroken too.
So, thank you. This is really good. Couple different scenarios. He's meeting with his dad tomorrow, and he's asking Dad, I want to go back. Please believe in me. He's written him a letter, et cetera, et cetera. They don't have a very good relationship. If Dad chooses to fund the next semester, which is completely out of my control.
Yep.
Then what?
Then here's what's going to happen. He's going to go back and he's going to flunk out, and they're not going to let him go to college there ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And so the number of times I counseled students and their parents away from the college where I was getting money for their enrollment so that they didn't put themselves in a position where they could never go again. And by the way, if you flunk out, you've got to report that on every application to another college you ever try to make. And so whatever life coach y'all have, by the way, sounds like they're terrible. Like if I'm paying for a year of a life coach and my kid drinks his way through freshman year, I'm not going to pay that life coach ever again.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what that life coach RS program on the internet. So I don't know. But I would never let my kid go back without a game plan, without really strict accountability. Who's going to walk alongside you? And by the way, I'm a grown up. I don't have time to babysit my 18-year-olds. Like, I want to see all your assignments and dude, you're in college.
Right. That's the thing. Do we have weekly? You know, my wonderful husband has said he can report to me every Friday at 5 or whatever, what his grades are. And I'm like, this just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't feel like he's 18, you know?
And at the University of Arkansas, I guarantee you they've got a counseling center and a tutoring center and a academic support center and faculty tutors and GAs that help the faculty tutors. The chances you have to decide, I don't want to be successful at the University of Arkansas for you to flunk out. That has to be a choice you make. And if you've got learning disabilities or learning exceptionalities, they've got ADA office and the ADA 504 stuff. They've got all kinds of organizations and groups. And the resources are endless. And your son made a choice to flunk out of college or flunk the semester. And so the most loving thing I think anybody does is doesn't set himself up in a position to, you don't buy your 16-year-old a Ferrari because they don't need that. I'm protecting you from your bad decision. I want you, if you're going to hit the gas, I want you to hit Honda Accord gas, not Ferrari gas, right? I want you to make an 80-mile-an-hour wreck, not a 280-mile-an-hour wreck.
Well, right. And I mean, he had his car. We had to take his car away. He was driving too fast. We warned him. We got rid of his car.
And similarly,
reckless.
Yes. And so I don't want him to be put in a situation where he's going to have his 18-year-old plans. I really, really want this. And hey, I believe he really wants it. I believe he got embarrassed. I believe he's ashamed. I believe it was a wake-up call. I get it. I think it was an old Bobby Knight quote, old basketball coach, who said, everybody wants to be a champion. Everybody on the court wants to win that game. But the game's not won on that court. The game is won the year before in the weight room and in the practice room and in the film room.
Right.
And so your son really wants this, but he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have the acumen. He doesn't have a success strategy. He doesn't have any. He's had 2 years now, or a year and a half of substandard academic success. He needs to get a couple of wins under his belt. Get that at a local community college, either for free if Arkansas has that program. I don't know what state you're in. Oh, you're in Kansas City, Missouri. If they've got a free community college program, or it's going to be like $50 an hour or whatever, go do that, right? But set him up in a position to get some little wins so that he can choose to make bigger win decisions. And this is one of those, I don't know what your relationship is with your ex-husband, but I'd call him and say, I know I don't have any say into what next semester looks like. I believe the best thing for our son is that he feel the weight of his consequences and that he spends a semester at a community college. Let him show us this is what he wants. I know that it can be pie in the sky depending on what kind of partnership you have with your ex, but I would probably make that phone call. Let him know you love him, your son, and let him know he's got to feel the weight of the consequences of his choices. Thank you so much for the call, Mary. Great question. Great question. All right, as we wrap up today's show, the Beatles, huh? Just kidding. Smashing Pumpkins, just kidding. Kelly's favorite song of all time. This is like in the late 1800s, this record came out. When did this album come out? Do you even remember? Was it 92? 88?
No, I believe it was 89.
89. Oh my gosh. Did they have electricity in 89? Just kidding. I was alive then too. It's off the Appetite for Destruction record. The song is called Paradise City. Look at the smile on Kelly's face. It's ear to ear. Just makes her happy. It's so good. And it goes like this. Just an urchin living under the street. I'm a hard case. That's tough to beat. I'm your charity case, so buy me something to eat. I'll pay you at another time. Take it to the end of the line. Rags and riches, or so they say. You got to keep pushing for the fortune and fame. I've always thought it was keep pushing for the punch in the face, till just now. Keep pushing for the fortune and fame. You know, it's all a gamble when it's just a game. You treat it like a capital crime, everybody's doing the time. So, take me down to the Paradise City, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty and smart and brilliant. I hear you, internets. Oh, won't you please take me home? Take me down to the Paradise City where the grass is green and James is kind. Wonder what that would be like. Oh, won't you please take me home? We're taking everybody home right here on the Dr. John Delony Show. See you soon.